Emmerich will have 1 year experience on him. Here's the toss. The ball game underway as Adrian Smith's got it in backcourt, passing up to Calvert and moves past the stripe. Ball game underway with Calvert feeding Krigler on the right side back to Calvert. Cox goes through. Calvert can't get it to him. Hooks to Beck, top of the circle, breaks right, double team, hits Adrian Smith and a foul from the rear. It's against Florida's Joe Hobbs. Florida playing a very tight, aggressive man-to-man defense. With Joe Hobbs, 6'1" guard, fouling Adrian Smith of Kentucky. Smith cutting right down the middle of the 3-second zone. On the line shooting. He missed it. Taken off by Florida as it's pulled in by Bert Touchberry, the Gators' leading rebounder. He gives it over to the left-hander, Joe Hobbs, who walks up the backcourt. Past the line with Calvert on him. Breaks right. A double pick and a shot. It's short off the rim. Rebounding John Krigler. Knocked away from it. He goes to the floor, and 2 Gators hit on top of him to tie him up. That's Henderson hitting him with Hobbs. Henderson of Florida stands 6'3". Krigler of Kentucky also 6'3" on the Gator free throw line. The ball comes to Calvert on the bounce. He moves up in front court. Scoreless ball game. Pass off the left side to Krigler. Moves out, gives to Calvert. Calvert moves to the right. Backs away. Down the side to Cox, who moves out. Hands to Adrian Smith, breaking to the right. Pulls up, gets his shot from 10 feet and hit it. Adrian Smith puts Kentucky in front 2-0. The Gators have the ball for the second time. Johnny Smith moving back in front court. The Kentucky Wildcats have not seen him. He moves down the right side with Calvert on him. Passes back outside to Hobbs, who slows it down. Sets up a balanced court. Emmerich on the pivot playing at the free throw line. Passes over to Smith. 1 bounce dribble and back to Hobbs. They exchange words as Hobbs moves to the right. Emmerich takes another pivot out on the free throw line. Calvert knocks down an intended pass. Emmerich goes out, gets it, breaks, shoots, back fouled him, blocking from the rear. First foul against Kentucky goes to Captain Ed Beck. We just had a late score. The Air Force Academy has defeated Omaha tonight. The Air Force Academy 74, Omaha 46. Emmerich of Florida shooting, hitting. Now with his second shot can tie up this 2-1 ball game. We've played 1 minute, 18 seconds. He hits again. Emmerich with a pair of free throws matches the field goal by Adrian Smith. With Smith in front court getting Cox on the left side. The jump shot's no good. Over the rim, Krigler rebounds. Passes out to Beck. 20-foot jump shot, good. Ed Beck from way to the outside gets his first field goal, and the Cats lead again by 2 points. 4-2. Gators moving it slowly up the backcourt with Smith getting it, taking it into front court, breaking to the right. Feeds into Hobbs, breaking, and a beautiful block by Adrian Smith out of bounds. Goes to the Gators, to the right of their own basket, over the baseline. Bob Emmerich out of bounds, midway to the corner, passes in the corner to Touchberry, breaks to the baseline, passes out to Smith, 1 bounce dribble, out to Hobbs, top rim of the circle, jump shots in and out. Ed Beck rebounds for Kentucky, holds on, whips over to Adrian Smith. Odie to his teammate, passing up to Cox, who drops it off his shoulder, picks up, breaks by Touchberry, hooks it up, no good, knocked to the floor into the basket. Cox is charging. First foul on Johnny Cox. Stops the clock with 17 minutes, 51 seconds here in the first half of play. Kentucky leading 4-2, and Bob Emmerich, who has 2 free throws, is on the Gator charity stripe for 1. Still a chance to tie up this game. Emmerich standing in now, 6'5", 200-pound captain. Hits. Has the bonus shot coming. Emmerich in for the bonus try. It's good. And the ball game is 4-4. Florida still playing without a field goal. Jerry Calvert coming back in front court. Sets it up. Passes down the right side. Knocked out of bounds, though, by Touchberry of Florida. Got an arm out in front of Cox. Kentucky will put it in play on the right side of the offensive court. Calvert out of bounds, calls his play. Feeds to Adrian Smith. High pass goes in the double pivot to Cox, and a 15-foot hook. Good. Johnny Cox is the third Wildcat to pick up a field goal, and it's 6-4. Kentucky's third 2-point lead. Hobbs of Florida moving back in front court with Calvert in a low crouch as he gives a pass into Emmerich. Fall away 2-hand shot, no good. Calvert goes for it, takes it away from Johnny Cox in a rebound. High pass to Krigler, breaking down the right side against Emmerich. Handed to Becken from 20 feet. He missed it this time. Drops off the rim to Odie Smith, who loses the ball out of bounds, and the Gators have got it. We've played 3 minutes. Kentucky leading 6-4. They didn't get a shot after Beck's shot. Hobbs in front court for the Gators. Moves left. A double pick again. Hobbs gets away from Krigler and flips it in driving. Joe Hobbs gets Florida's first field goal after 3 minutes and 14 seconds of play, and the game for the third time is tied 6-6. Krigler to Calvert. He sets, breaks to the right. Smith stabs and misses at the ball. Calvert pulls up, hooks to Beck. 15-foot hook, good. Ed Beck hooks in his second field goal, and for the fourth time in the game, the Cats lead by 2 points, 8-6. Hobbs walking up the backcourt for Florida. Dribbling the ball letter high in front. Moves to the right. Henderson breaks away, goes in on the back block, which didn't work. Hobbs feeds to Emmerich. Jump shot over Beck is good. Bob Emmerich with his first field goal and sixth point ties the game at 8-8. Smith in front court to Krigler on the right side with Henderson on him. Passes to Beck in the pivot, and it's taken away from him by Smith of Florida, who slapped the ball down quickly on one hop. Gives it over to Hobbs. Hobbs walking up the backcourt now. Kentucky is not picking them up until they're a few feet inside the 10-second line. Krigler switches off on Hobbs, who takes it into the left corner. Passes into who hooks and misses. Cox gets the rebound, drops it, scoops it up, and gives to Calvert. Calvert in front court with it now. Cuts to the rim of the circle, gives to Smith, who drives, lays it in, good, and a foul on the play of the goal's good. Let's see who the foul is on. Looks like Joe Hobbs. It is Hobbs of Florida, committing his second personal foul of the game. Each team has committed 2. The field goal is the second for Adrian Smith. He's on the line for one shot, and it's good. So there's the first three-point trip of the ball game, and the Cats have their first three-point lead of the night, 11-8. Adrian Smith's the leading scorer for Kentucky. Here's a break by Charlie Smith, cut off by Adrian Smith of Kentucky. Gives, and wide open. Emmerich misses a shot. Touchberry drops it out of bounds and then kicks it as he tries to pick it up into the crowd. Calvert rips it into Smith as the Cats begin to attack rapidly. Top rim of the circle, cuts left, gives to Cox. 20-foot jump shot's good. Johnny Cox with his second field goal puts Kentucky out into a 5-point advantage at 13-8. Charlie Smith of Florida now moving up the backcourt for the Gators. Comes in against Smith, moves to the right and picked up by Calvert. Passes into Touchberry, spins back to his right with Krigler on him. Goes near the corner, turns, falls, and fires good. Touchberry with his first field goal makes it a 13-10 contest. Here's Cox getting it from Smith down the left side, pulls up, bounces to Beck, fakes a hook, spins right, comes out with a hook and a foul on the play. It's against Florida. Bob Emmerich drawing his first one of the game. 14 minutes, 44 seconds in this first half as Ed Beck will try 2. Beck has not been on the free throw line tonight. He owns 2 of Kentucky's 6 field goals. Misses the free throw. Kentucky has missed 2 out of 3. Florida has not missed at the free throw line. So Beck up now for his second shot. Good. Beck and Smith have 5 points each, and Kentucky leads 14-10. Charlie Smith of Florida moves up slowly in the backcourt, just walking. Skips over the dividing line, breaking to the right side. Double pick. Cox gets out on him. Hooks it back to the outside to Hobbs. Emmerich's playing out on the free throw line as Hobbs breaks down the left side. Goes into the corner, picked up by Smith, gives into Henderson. Cox knocked it away and out of bounds, or Beck rather, goes to Kentucky. Adrian Smith bounces it into Jerry Calvert. Kentucky leading by 4 points. Calvert in front court with the ball. Hooks one down the right side. That's kicked out of bounds by Touchberry of Florida, who knocked it down into his own feet. Adrian Smith on the right side of Kentucky's offensive court. Bounces one to Krigler at the top of the circle. Looks for Beck. To Cox and can't get it to him. Gives over to Adrian Smith. Bounce pass in the pivot to Beck. The guards crisscross going in. Beck feeds. Calvert drops it. Krigler gets it, and he can't hold it. Out of bounds to Florida, into the Kentucky bench. Florida coming back to the attack. Kentucky still leading 14-10. Hobbs down the right side to Henderson. Gets a return pass, breaks quickly, shoots over Cox. No good. Bounces off the rim. The Gators get it. A hook up, no good by Henderson. Slapped off on the side. The Gators have got it again. Is racing in. Hobbs picks it up, hits Emmerich under the basket, and he hooks it in for his second field goal. 14-12 the score as Calvert gets the ball and walks up the backcourt for Kentucky. Looks at his offense, which is prepared for him, so he moves in. Krigler moves out. Calvert moves in, feeds back in the pivot. Double team break, shoots over, no good, and Henderson rebounds for Florida. Now the Gators trailing by 2 points have a chance to tie it up as they move back into offensive territory with Charlie Smith crossing the line, feeding down the left side. Everett Touchberry keeps it, moving out deep, gives to Henderson. A hook, no good, off the rim. The rebound taken by Florida's Jerry Henderson. He's immediately fouled by Krigler from the rear. First foul on Krigler. And it's the third foul on each team. Timeout, Florida, is the first timeout in the ball game. with 12 minutes and 57 seconds here in the first half. Well, here's the scoring so far. Kentucky has a 6-4 edge on field goals. Johnny Cox has 2. Ed Beck has 2 field goals and a free throw and 2 tries, and Adrian Smith has 2 field goals and a free throw and 2 tries. Calvert and Krigler have neither scored. For Florida, the big man is Bob Emmerich, who has 8 of their 12 points on 2 field goals and 4 free throws. Touchberry and Hobbs have the other 2 field goals. In the individual shooting, here's the picture so far. Johnny Cox has hit 2 out of 4. Ed Beck's hit 2 out of 5, and Adrian Smith, who has 2 field goals also, has not missed. For Florida, Hobbs has hit 1 out of 4. Emmerich's hit 2 for 4. Touchberry hit his only shot, and Henderson has missed all 3 of his opportunities. Kentucky 14, Florida 12 as Jerry Henderson moves out to the Florida free throw line. And the horn should be sounding since it's the Gators' timeout, and they're ready to go. Kentucky breaks huddle now with no change in either lineup. We'll be back with you Friday night of next week from Ellis Auditorium in Memphis. Broadcast time over these same stations will be 9 o'clock Central Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. It's Kentucky and Ole Miss. Now Jerry Henderson, 6'3" forward, on the Florida free throw line with 1 try. Left-hander, he missed it. Beck slaps almost over the head of Calvert on the rebound. Up the way into the feet of Adrian Smith, who digs it out. Gives over to Calvert, fakes, comes back out with a pass to Smith. Most to the right, cuts sharply and is cut off at the baseline. Outside pass to Calvert, 15-foot jump shot, short, taking it off Touchberry of Florida. Passes it over to Charlie Smith and up the way to Joe Hobbs. Gators using a very deliberate attack, staying within 2 points of the Cats right now. They had a lead of 13-8, but Florida's outscored them 4-1 since then. Here's Henderson breaking to the left on Cox, who blocked his shot and took it away from him. Beautiful defensive play by Johnny Cox. Over to Calvert, and moves into front court. Pass on the right side to Ed Beck, back to Calvert. Over to Johnny Cox, fakes Touchberry, takes his 10-foot jump shot, good. Well, there's Johnny Cox stealing the ball from Florida and then getting the jump shot to put Kentucky on top, 16-12. Kentucky's had 1 5-point lead, biggest margin. Florida's not yet had the lead. Here's Hobbs, fakes to the right side, bounces one to Emmerich on the pivot, falls away from Beck. The shot is short, knocked out of bounds by Calvert. Goes over to Florida, just to the right of their basket over the baseline as we move into the last 12 minutes of the first half. Bob Emmerich out of bounds, calls his play by laying the ball on the floor. That's the signal, and the pass is deep, picked up by Hobbs. Dribbles behind his back and holds on, then drops it, finally gets it again. Breaking down the right side, Cox picks up on Hobbs as the back block again did not go for the Gators. Now here's Smith going in. Calvert's picked off by Bob Emmerich, and for Bob Emmerich, it's his second foul. Calvert was picked so hard he was knocked to the floor by the big 200-pound Florida center. So the Gators captain has 2 personals along with Joe Hobbs. 11 minutes and 32 seconds here in the first half as Jerry Calvert of Kentucky makes his first appearance at the free throw line. Kentucky leading 16-12 in the Southeastern Conference game here in Lexington. Calvert has Krigler and Smith off the sides of the circle and a safety. Here's Calvert's free throw try, good. And for the second time in the game, Kentucky has an edge of 5 points. It's 17-12 as Calvert will try for the bonus shot. Calvert looks in, 2-hander from between the knees, good. Calvert's the first man to hit both free throws. And only Krigler's not scored now as the Cats have their longest lead of the game, 6 points, 18-12. Left-hander Joe Hobbs moving back in for the Gators, feeds Emmerich out on the top rim of the circle in a very high pivot. Turns and faces back, moves to the left, gives over, and Henderson shoots short. Rebounding, John Krigler of Kentucky. 2 men go for him, Touchberry and Emmerich, but he holds on and passes to Adrian Smith. Smith moves in front court quickly to the top rim of the circle, gives to Beck, back to Krigler. 25-footer's good. John Krigler hits his shot from the top rim of the circle, and it's his first field goal as all 5 Cats score. That, incidentally, is Krigler's first shot as Kentucky takes an 8-point lead with 11 minutes to go. Hobbs, set shot, good from the right side. Second field goal for Hobbs. 5th one for Florida as Kentucky leads 20-14. Smith back in front court for the Wildcats, setting it up now. Krigler moves out. Smith moves down the right side, breaks on Henderson and shoots, and Henderson fouled him. Personal foul number 1 on Jerry Henderson of Florida, sending Adrian Smith to the Kentucky free throw line. Johnny Cox is Kentucky's leading scorer with 6 points, as Adrian Smith with 5 stands in for 2. First shot good. Smith on the line for a second shot as Kentucky leads 21-14. 10 minutes and 41 seconds here in the first half. Second shot's good by Adrian Smith. And the Cats move back in front by 8 points for the second time in the game. It's 22-14. Hobbs walking up the backcourt for Florida now. Crosses the midcourt stripe. Passes into Emmerich. 20-foot jump shot, no good to the right. Calvert and Cox go for it, and Cox takes his hands off of it to let Calvert set up a fast break. Off the left side, gives to Cox. They spot him. The jump shot, no good this time. Beautiful rebound by Krigler. Falls away and shoots, no good. Moves in to get it again. Falls away and shoots, no good again. Goes in, Krigler's got it again, knocked away from him, and moving out, Touchberry's got it for Florida. Can't hold it, out of bounds to Kentucky. Checkers, it's Florida getting the ball. We got 10 minutes in the first half. Kentucky 22, Florida 14. Krigler putting on a one-man rebounding exhibition. Joe Hobbs in front court for the Gators now. Moving to the left side. Set shot, good. Hobbs being given the shots on the side has hit 2 in a row now. It's 22-16. Jerry Calvert moving back in front court for Kentucky. Down the right side to Krigler, back to Calvert. Moves back outside with it, gives to Cox at the top of the circle. Breaks left, gets his jump shot. Good. Johnny Cox with his 4th field goal. Puts the Cats on top by 8 points for the 3rd time. 9.5 minutes here in the first half. Down the left side to Touchberry, knocked down by Adrian Smith. Picked up in there by Smith, who walks with it, and it's out of bounds to Kentucky. A lot of defensive pressure put on Smith. Pass from Smith of Kentucky into Calvert, back to Smith. Driving, and he's fouled again by Emmerich. That's the 3rd one on Bob Emmerich of Florida. Adrian Smith went to the floor then, as coming out Jerry Henderson of Florida. In to replace him, Jim Zinn, Z-I-N-N, 21-year-old junior from St. Petersburg, Florida. Zinn is the tallest of the Gators at 6'7", weighs 210, has 51 points for a 3.9 average. Adrian Smith of Kentucky is shooting 2 free throws. First one good. Now the Cats lead by 9 points for the first time in the game. Second shot by Smith, good. Cats lead by 10, 26-16. Florida takes over. Moving back in front court with Emmerich still in the pivot, getting the ball at the free throw line. Moves left and shoots. No good, rolled off. Zinn, rebound, shoots, no good, but fouled by Johnny Cox. Second foul on Cox of Kentucky. Zinn, big 6'7", 210-pound forwards on the line. 2 shots coming. Florida's hit 4 out of 5 free throws. Adrian Smith of Kentucky's hit 5 out of 6. Here's Zinn. First try, no good. He scored 6 points last year in Gainesville against Kentucky. 9 minutes and 6 seconds here in the first half. Kentucky leading 26-16. Zinn's second shot's good, and it's 26-17. Back in front court, Calvert of Kentucky watches Krigler in the right corner. Passes over to Smith, down the left side to Cox. Mows out, gives to Calvert. Mows back out to the top of the circle, gives to Krigler. Takes a 20-foot shot, in and out. Adrian Smith knocks down the rebound, no good, and Hobbs has got it for Florida. 26-17, Kentucky leads. Hobbs lets his offense get set with Emery coming out to the free throw line to play the pivot. Backing away down the right side of the 3-second zone as Zinn gets the ball on the right side. Passes in there to Touchberry, spun away from Krigler and lays it in. Touchberry gets his second field goal of the game, 26-19, as Florida cuts into Kentucky's 10-point lead. Back is Calvert in front court, moving to the left, pulling up, giving to Beck in the pivot. With Zinn on him, he hooks and misses. Rebounding Touchberry of Florida. Zinn is in the ball game apparently to play a defensive pivot since Emmerich has committed 3 personals and take the heat off of him. Here's the pass on the right side to Zinn. Against Cox, he takes a jump shot. No good. Bounces off the rim. Emmerich knocks it down, and Calvert gets it, and it's taken away from him, and Calvert fouled him quickly, nullifying a dead crip shot by Emmerich. It's the first foul on Jerry Calvert, and the 5th one against Kentucky. There are 8 minutes and 2 seconds here in the first half, as Bob Emmerich of Florida is on the free throw line for 1 shot. Kentucky leads 26-19. Emmerich has not missed on the free throw line, has hit 4 for 4. Has 8 points. Shoots, good. Emmerich in with a bonus shot coming as Kentucky's 10-point lead has been trimmed to 6. Emmerich sights, shot good. 26-21 now as Florida's cut the lead in half. Adrian Smith hits Krigler, breaking in against Emmerich. Shoots, no good. Up high, Johnny Cox gets the rebound, fakes him, and goes in wide open. Johnny Cox, faking Zinn, completely out of position, went in for a dead crip shot from only 5 feet away for his 5th field goal. High pass knocked down by Beck, but picked up by Hobbs and flipped off to Zinn on the right side. Breaks in, loses the ball, and Krigler picks it up for Kentucky. Watches the fast break go, but doesn't risk a pass. 28-21 for the Cats as Calvert moves in. Cox in the left corner calling for it. Pass goes to Beck, who fakes and hooks good. Man, Beck did the same thing to Zinn that Cox did. And it's 30-21. Zinn must go for that first fake pretty badly, or he has at least on the last two trips. Here's a head fake and a drive to the left by Hobbs. Calvert falls away and he hits. 4 field goals for Joe Hobbs. It's a 30-23 ball game. Kentucky leading by 7 points. Moving up the back court now, Adrian Smith. Down the left side to Cox. Moves out to the 3-second zone. Gives out to Calvert as he can't get his shot away. Calvert in the pivot to Beck. Drives by. Has it knocked away but picked up in the air by Krigler. Fed to Beck. Spins. A hook blocked by Zinn and he picks it up in the bounce as Beck had his momentum going away from the ball. Now Hobbs of Florida just goes into the walk up the back court. Kentucky 30, Florida 23. Emmerich out on the pivot as Hobbs breaks to the right on Calvert. Turns his back to the basket. Moves into the free throw line. Gives to Smith. Calvert switches off on him. Whips in there to Touchberry. Moves. Gets open and shoots. No good. Beck knocks it down. Calvert picks it up and is immediately fouled by Charlie Smith. Charlie Smith of Florida committing his first foul of the game against Jerry Calvert, who incidentally is the only Wildcat without a field goal. 6 minutes and 28 seconds here in the first half. Calvert, incidentally, has taken only one shot. Calvert shooting the two-handed free throw from between the knees. Sights, brings it up, no good. Beck taps, no good, and Emmerich rebounds for Florida. Over to Charlie Smith. Then to Joe Hobbs, who moves it quickly up the backcourt this time. Down the right side to Zinn, who walks out to the top of the circle, gives to Smith, with Smith on him. Bounce pass to Touchberry, falls away and misses. And Beck rebounds, and Emmerich fouled him. That's 4 of them on Bob Emmerich. As the Gators have their captain in trouble, he's coming out. Bob Emmerich has 10 of Florida's 23 points, but with 4 personal fouls, it looks like he'll be coming out. Johnny Cox has 5 field goals for Kentucky. He incidentally has missed only 3 out of 8 tries. As checking in for Florida, Chuck Brendler. Coming out is Emmerich, Brendler, 22-year-old senior from Madison, Wisconsin. Brendler, 6'6", weighs 220, has 104 points for an average of 7.4 per game. Ed Beck goes to the Kentucky free throw line. He's hit 1 and missed 1 and has 1 coming with 6 minutes, 9 seconds here in the first half. Beck shoots, no good. Bounces off to the right and taken by Florida. They, incidentally, are bigger now than they were in the starting lineup. Zinn is 6'7", or 4 inches taller than Henderson, and now in the pivot, Brendler, taller. Here's a drive by Zinn, no good. Rebound by Brendler, gives it to Zinn, who jumps and lays it up, no good. Beck slaps it away. Cox takes it, knocked away, but Adrian Smith picks it up. Had Johnny Cox up on his back and didn't know whether it was a Gator or a Wildcat. Here is back to Odie Smith down the left to Krigler, moving out, gives to Calvert in close quarters, falls away, and the shot, no good, rolled off. Johnny Cox rebounds, and the ball is out of bounds as he had his foot on the line. Kentucky 30, Florida 23. The official tried to knock the ball to Charlie Smith of Florida and knocked it right into the lap of Coach Adolph Rupp, who slammed the ball on the floor. Hobbs of Florida walks back in front court, fakes to the outside, comes back to the left where he's picked up by Adrian Smith, pulls up on the left side, passes out to Smith. Smith breaks down the left side and falls away from Calvert and hits. For Charlie Smith, that's his first field goal of the ball game. It's 30-25. Kentucky had a 10-point lead, 26-16. They've been outscored 9-4 since then. Adrian Smith fires to Cox in the right corner, moves away from Touchberry, and a foul on Cox for charging. That's 3 of them on Johnny Cox. 4 minutes and 54 seconds to go. So now Cox of Kentucky will have to back up a little bit. Beck and Zinn both stand 6'7". However, Zinn weighs 210 and Beck weighs 188. Now Touchberry of Florida makes his first appearance at the free throw line. The shot's good. Touchberry now has more points than he scored in the entire game at Gainesville last year. He stands in for the bonus shot. It's good, and Kentucky leads now by just 3 points. Here's Cox getting it on the left side of the front court, passing back out to Odie Smith. Florida's outscored the Cats 11-4. Smith drives. Touchberry blocked it out of bounds. Goes over to Kentucky to the left of the basket. Ed Beck moves out of bounds to call it. Slams the ball into the palm of his hand. Calvert turns, and a whistle from the back. Pushing foul against Florida. Drawing the personal foul, Charlie Smith, his second one of the ball game. Calvert broke in under the basket, and Smith grabbed him. So Calvert of Kentucky will shoot one. He's hit 2 out of 3. 4 minutes and 32 seconds here in the first half, with Kentucky leading by 3 points. Calvert stands in now for the shot. Two-hander from between the knees. No good. Rebounding, Brendler, Florida. Kentucky has missed 5 free throws here in the first half. They lead by just 30-27 as Florida's outscored them 11-4 since Kentucky took a 10-point lead. Here's Touchberry. Passing out to Hobbs, 35-footer, in and out. Knocked down and taken by Brendler. Fakes a hook, gets away from Krigler, and it's no good. Calvert takes it off this time. Clears it for the fast break. High pass knocked down by Smith, picked up by Zinn, as Calvert risked a very dangerous pass over 3 hard-charging Gators. 4 minutes in the first half. Florida trailing by just 3 points after being down 26-16. Now Hobbs crisscrosses with Smith, moving to the left. Smith breaks against Calvert, gets the ball, fakes Calvert and shoots. No good. Johnny Cox knocks it down, but Zinn picks it up and missed an open shot. Cox picks it up this time and establishes a 3-3 break. Off the left to Odie Smith, turns his back, gives to Cox. Here's the jump shot, no good. Tapped in by Krigler. John Krigler with his second field goal puts Kentucky on top 32-27, and the Cats come out of their scoring drought. Charlie Smith to Hobbs, moving past the midcourt stripe for Florida. Down the right side to Zinn, back to Hobbs. Smith goes through, Hobbs goes out, sets. Calvert cuts off an attempted shot. He gives to Charlie Smith. He moves out deep, moves to the left side, gives to Zinn. Top rim of the circle, jump shot by Zinn's good. Zinn, with his first field goal of the game, cuts the Kentucky lead back to 3 points at 32-29. Ray Mills waits to get into the game as Adrian Smith drives, takes a 20-foot jump shot, no good. Beck taps to the outside. Here's a pushing foul against Florida's Charlie Smith. Check it. It's Brendler drawing the personal, his first one of the ball game. And Ray Mills is Kentucky's first substitute. He's 6'4", weighs 199, and Johnny Cox comes out. Mills, 23-year-old senior from Manchester, came up from Clay County High School. Has 65 points this season, averaging 5 points a game. He had 2 big nights of 11 points against Duke and Loyola. Ed Beck of Kentucky's on the line for 1 shot. He's hit 1, missed 2. His free throw, good. Beck now has 8 points as Kentucky leads by 33-29. Beck in for a bonus shot. It's good. So it's Kentucky 34, Florida 29, with 3 minutes here in the first half. Gators swinging back to the attack now with Joe Hobbs moving in front court against Calvert. Breaks quickly to the left, kicks off on the side. Touchberry moves out, picked up by Calvert on the switch. Takes a jump shot, and it's no good short. Touchberry rebounds, pumps it up again, good. Touchberry's third field goal makes it 34-31. Kentucky leading by 3 points as Calvert moves back in front court. Watches Ray Mills on the left side, moves in behind him, gives to Beck in the pivot. Tries to hook, it's blocked by Brendler, and Beck has it taken away from him by Brendler from the rear. Brings Coach Adolph Rupp up off the bench. Pass goes over to Hobbs. Florida moving back in now. They trail by only 3 points. Hobbs past the dividing line. Gives a high pass to Brendler in the pivot. Fakes Beck and falls down. It's walking. Brendler faked himself then. Calvert out of bounds. Passes into Adrian Smith, who moves in front court for Kentucky with 2 minutes in the first half. Breaks right, 10-foot jump shot, no good. Beck knocks it out of bounds, goes to Florida. 2 minutes in the ball game here now with Kentucky leading 34-31. This is the only team this season that's beaten Tulane in the SEC. Here's Hobbs breaking quickly to the left. Krigler picks him up, goes to the corner, and shoots over Krigler. Good. Hobbs picks up his 5th field goal of the game, and Kentucky's lead now just 1 point, 34-33. Smith in front court, sets it up, gives to Beck in the pivot. Calvert goes by, gets the pass, hooks it in. Jerry Calvert gets his first field goal of the ball game with 1.5 minutes to go in this first half of play, and Kentucky now leads 36-33. Down the left side to Touchberry. Moves against Krigler down the left side. Comes out to the 3-second zone. 15-footer is short off the rim. Zinn taps twice and no good again. Taken off by Brendler, who dropped it out of bounds. Ray Mills knocked it away from him. Florida will have it to the left of their basket. Kentucky 36, Florida 33. Gators using that dominating height right now on the boards. Bounce pass in the left corner to Touchberry. Back to Brendler, double teamed. Passes out on the left side to Hobbs. Hobbs fakes Smith, moving into the corner, gives to Brendler, comes out, fakes Beck, and gets open. The shot good. Chuck Brendler with his first field goal again cuts Kentucky's lead back to 1 point, 36-35. Krigler to Adrian Smith. Kentucky's had a 10-point lead. Right now it's just one. And with 35 seconds to go, Kentucky apparently wants just one more shot. As Calvert stands holding the ball with Charlie Smith of Florida standing 7 or 8 feet away from him, not putting any pressure on him at all. Adrian Smith takes the opportunity to move into Calvert to say something. Florida's perfectly content to get away at this point. Kentucky led by 26-16. Since then, Florida scored 19 and Kentucky scored 10. 8 seconds to go. Calvert moves left, loses the ball out of bounds to Florida. 3 seconds to go. Smith out of bounds passes to Hobbs, who fires the ball, no good. As the first half ends, well, Calvert broke for the basket, lost the ball, and Kentucky had it for 39 seconds and didn't get even one shot. So halftime score is a surprisingly close Kentucky 36, Florida 35. We'll have your individual scoring in just a moment. A crisp, clear, cold winter morning is a beautiful thing, but it takes a sudden, ugly twist when you step into your car, turn the ignition, only to discover a dead battery. Winter is tough on batteries, and the week dies suddenly. Make cold weather driving a dependable convenience, not a gamble. See your Standard Oil dealer tomorrow. Right now, he's featuring the tops in battery buys. A brand new Atlas Heavy Duty with Permafull protection carrying a full 4-year guarantee. An Atlas Heavy Duty gives you 80% more life than ordinary batteries, yet costs you 15% less per month to operate. Best of all, you've got dependable power and a spare whenever you need it. Regardless of the weather, you're sure of prompt, easy starts. Make battery response a certainty. Trade for an Atlas Heavy Duty, guaranteed till 1961 at your Standard Oil station now. Our crowd tonight is estimated at 10,500. Still no students here, as semester 2 will not begin until next week. We have as our special guest tonight Dr. Leo Chamberlain, Vice President of the University, and we'll give you the individual scoring here, and Dr. Chamberlain will be in with us here in just a moment. Right now, let's take 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Standard Oil Sports Network.
WVLK, Lexington, Kentucky, 28 minutes before 9 o'clock.
Back to the Coliseum now, and here's the 6-7, Beck at 6-7, standing against each other. Beck taps just in front court to Johnny Cox, and Kentucky has the ball as the second half gets underway. Here's Adrian Smith driving, flipping out to Cox on the left side. His jump shot, no good. Taken off by Florida's Jim Zinn, as Florida continues to dominate the backboards. Hobbs walking up the back court as a couple of the Gator reserves yell to him, "Take your time, Joe." And he does, walking in against Jerry Calvert now. Breaking to the left side, Krigler picks him up as he moves to the left corner. Jump shot, no good. Bounces off to Johnny Cox of Kentucky. Over to Adrian Smith, who moves up to the front court quickly for the Wildcats. Pulls up at the free throw line. Hands out to Calvert. Fakes. Hobbs knocks it down, fights through, but can't get to it. Calvert over to Smith, breaks back to the left. Gives it out to Calvert again. Calvert waves Krigler away, passes over to Smith. Smith looks at Cox down the left side. Beck playing a deep pivot. Down the left side to Cox now, back to Calvert. Breaking down the left side, faking against Charlie Smith, who falls down. Calvert shoots, no good. Cox taps. Calvert rebounds and shoots, no good. Cox rebounds, and as he jumps to shoot, he's fouled. Charlie Brendler drawing the personal foul of Florida. It's his second one. Johnny Cox is on the Kentucky free throw line for the first time in the ball game. 2 shots coming. We've played 1 minute. Kentucky still leading by 1 point. Cox first free throw, good. Cats take a 2-point lead. 37-35 with Johnny Cox in the free throw line. For the second shot, no good. Touchberry rebounds for Florida. Comes out of there quickly with it and then stops. Gives over to Hobbs. Hobbs walks past the midcourt stripe. Got Calvert on him as he moves to the left. Calvert switches off on Touchberry. Pass goes out to Smith, a double fake, a drive against Adrian Smith, and a foul on Smith, who bumped into him, and that's the first foul on Adrian Smith of Kentucky. And it sends Florida's Charlie Smith to the free throw line for the first time for 1 shot. 18 minutes and 45 seconds in this ball game, which has seen Kentucky drop off sharply. Shot no good. Beck taps to Calvert. High pass up to Adrian Smith at midcourt. Moves into the top rim of the circle, flips off on the right side to Cox, double teamed, backs away into the corner, passes to Smith. He moves back outside to set it up, gives to Beck in the pivot, back to Calvert, wide open, he got it. Got away from Hobbs, and Jerry Calvert picks up his second field goal of the game, but put Kentucky on top 39-35. Now here's Smith back in front court for Florida. Breaks to the right side with Calvert picking him up. Bounce pass in and wide open again on the same play as Florida's Joe Hobbs for his sixth field goal. 39-37. Here's Calvert moving back in for the Wildcats. Crisscrosses, keeping, coming inside. Adrian Smith gives over to Krigler, back to Smith. 35-foot set shot, it's no good. Bounces right, Beck knocks it down. Touchberry picks it up for Florida. Moves out of there with it. Adrian Smith goes forward and can't get to it, and he passes over to Charlie Smith up to Hobbs. Florida has done a tremendous job on rebounding tonight. They had 11 shots more than Kentucky in the first half. Brendler gets it in the pivot, turns and shoots over Beck, short. Adrian Smith rebounds. Can't get it out of there, though, and he's tied up. Smith at 6 feet will jump against Zinn, who's 6'7", giving Florida 7 inches height advantage on their own free throw line. They wave Zinn out and bring Touchberry in, so Florida has 4 inches height advantage in this situation. Smith out-jumped him, though, getting it to Johnny Cox, who moves up in front court and stops quickly, passing over to Smith to set it up with a 2-point lead. Down the left to Cox, back to Smith. Over to Calvert, fakes to the pivot, pulls up, gives Krigler on the right side. Out to Smith, breaks through, kicked it out of bounds. Goes over to Florida. Kentucky leading 39-37. Joe Hobbs walking up the backcourt for the Gators now. Down the right side to Zinn, who brings it out. Passes over to Hobbs on the right side. Fakes Calvert, shoots. No good, off the rim. Krigler knocks it down. Calvert picks it up. Fires to Beck, back to Calvert. Up in front court to Smith on the left side. Down in the corner, here's Cox. Jump shot. No good. Beck tapped it in. Ed Beck with his 4th field goal puts Kentucky on top 41-37. Their second 4-point lead in the second half. 17 minutes still to play, though, as Hobbs of Florida moves back in against Calvert. Passes over to Smith, back to Hobbs. Hobbs starts the ball bouncing now, moves to the left as Smith picks him up. Hands to Touchberry. Zinn goes to the pivot, gets the leading bounce pass, turns, jump shot under the rim, taken by Beck of Kentucky. Beck brings it right on out of there into front court, handing to Calvert on the left side. Out to Smith, top of the circle, down the right side to Cox. Takes his jump shot. No good this time. Adrian Smith rebounds and is fouled from the rear by Touchberry of Florida. That's the first foul on Bert Touchberry. Adrian Smith in the Kentucky free throw line has hit 5 out of 6. Here's a late score from Oxford. Xavier beat Miami tonight by 12 points, 84-72. Xavier 84, Miami 72. Adrian Smith drops in the free throw. Has a bonus shot coming. Kentucky has a 5-point lead. Bonus shot good. 43-37 as both of them just trickled in for Smith, giving him 7 straight after missing his first one. Kentucky 43, Florida 37. Hobbs of Florida back in front court now. Bounce pass goes into Brendler on the pivot, spins to the left, double team, passes out to Smith. Smith fakes left, comes right, flips the ball behind his back, and Calvert's got it for Kentucky. Calvert moves in, high pass to Smith, down the middle, he lays it up, no good, but he's fouled on his drive down the middle. Joe Hobbs of Florida gets his 3rd personal. 16 minutes in this ball game as Adrian Smith goes back to the free throw line for Kentucky, this time 1 shot coming. Smith shoots and hits. Adrian Smith, incidentally, had 6 free throws in the first half, and not a one of them was a bonus shot. Bonus shot this time, no good. Cox taps, Beck taps, no good, and out of bounds to Kentucky off Jim Zinn's knee. Kentucky 44, Florida 37. 16 minutes in the ball game as Beck, over the baseline to the right of the basket, calls his play, looks for somebody open, passes to Cox, moving into the right corner with Calvert right beside him. Over to Smith and the pivot to Beck. Smith breaks, Beck hands to Calvert. Breaking to the left on Smith, fakes him and takes his shot. No good. Beck taps, no good. Zinn rebounds for Florida and gets out of there with it. Stumbles and charges the foul on. It's walking against Zinn of Florida as Adrian Smith put the pressure on him and Zinn took a little extra hop. Bounce pass comes into Beck in the corner, back to Smith. Breaks out, high pass to Cox in the pivot. Under there, threatens a hook, gives out to Beck to Adrian Smith. Sets, breaks down the middle, fakes a shot and walks with it, and it's out of bounds to Florida. Smith defied momentum then, or centrifugal force. Moving back in front court, Hobbs of Florida now, slowly, methodically down the left side. Back block doesn't work as they switch. Hobbs set shot, good. Hobbs of Florida gets his 7th field goal to make it 44-39. Kentucky's leads 5 points. Here's Smith in front court for Kentucky. Down the left side to Cox, outside to Calvert. He's set. Smith backs away, but Calvert doesn't shoot. Feeds Cox. Here's a hook shot. Good. Cox to the left side did not use the backboard on that hook shot for his 6th field goal. Timeout, Florida is the second timeout of the ball game as Kentucky takes its second lead of 7 points here in the second half. Kentucky 46, Florida 39. We have 14 minutes and 41 seconds in the first half. Here's a look at the second half shooting so far. Johnny Cox has 1 field goal, Calvert 2. That's Kentucky's picture. Florida has 2 field goals. Here's the scoring so far. Calvert has 2 points in this half, a total of 6 for the game. Johnny Cox now has 13 points, 3 of them in this half. Ed Beck now has 11 points, 2 of them in this half. And Adrian Smith now has 12 points, 3 of them in this half. Kentucky leading 46-39 as Florida has picked up 4 points in this half on field goals by Joe Hobbs. And as we go back to play, it's Florida's ball at the baseline in backcourt. Don't forget to join us next Friday night. We'll be at Ellis Auditorium, Memphis, Tennessee, where Kentucky plays Ole Miss with broadcast time 9 o'clock Central Time on these same stations. Back to play here at Lexington now as Hobbs walks up the backcourt for Florida. Past the midcourt line. High pivot to Brendler on the pivot. Takes a hook. Short. Calvert dropped it, but picked it up, handed it to Cox, who breaks out of there for a 3-1 break. Down the middle, fakes and walks with it. Holding foul against Smith. It grabbed Cox across the arms. It's the 3rd foul on Charlie Smith of Florida. Johnny Cox on the free throw line will take 1 try. Smith grabbed for the ball and grabbed Cox just barely at the arm. Cox shoots the free throw, good. Cox goes on the line now for a bonus shot as the Cats lead by 8 points for the first time in the second half. Here's Cox's bonus try, too hard, off the back of the rim. Touchberry of Florida rebounds. Passes her over to Charlie Smith. Kentucky leading 47-39. 8-point lead is their biggest one in this half. Up in front court now. Smith keeps it moving to the right, fires back to the left, though still deep to Hobbs. In the pivot to Brendler. Beck backs away and he shoots over him to the left. No good. Krigler gets the rebound. 1 bounce dribble and out to Beck, up to Adrian Smith. Cats got 3-2 going. Cox on the right side, 5 feet away, shoots from there and misses. Little Smith rebounds for Florida. He's 5'10", smallest man on either team. Here's Smith down the right side to Zinn, who brings it to the outside, top rim of the circle, hands to Touchberry. He breaks right, falls away from Cox and shoots under the rim and out of bounds to Kentucky. Kentucky 47, Florida 39. Here's Krigler down the right side for Kentucky, passing out to Adrian Smith. Back down the right to Krigler, back to Smith. Smith moves in, breaks for the basket, pulls up, gives to Krigler. 10-foot jump shot, good. John Krigler's 3rd field goal to put Kentucky on top by 10 points for the second time in the ball game. The other time was in the first half. Now down the left side to Touchberry, back to Charlie Smith, back to Hobbs. Calvert playing in closely to him, then Krigler picks him up at the top of the circle. Quick shot is... He got it. Hobbs picked up his 8th field goal on one that looked like was going to spill out. It's Zinn that gets the field goal for tapping it in. Here's Beck getting it in the Kentucky pivot. Outside to Calvert. Calvert to Smith and the pivot to Beck. Watches Calvert go by. Takes a right-handed hook. Good. 5 field goals for Beck. Kentucky leads for the 3rd time in the game by 10 points. 51-41. Here's Hobbs in front court for Florida. Down the right to Zinn. Moves down the side with Cox driving him toward the corner. Out to Hobbs. Hobbs backs away, then passes into Zinn on the right side. 15-foot jump shot, good. Zinn gets his 3rd field goal. Back-to-back here now, and it's 51-43. Calvert back in front court for Kentucky. Setting it up. Passes down the left side to Cox. Brings it out, gives it to Adrian Smith. Here's a 35-foot set shot. Rolled off. And Beck fouled Brendler from the rear, trying to get to the rebound. It's 2nd foul on Beck. Bob Emmerich waiting to get in for Florida now, laying down in front of the scorer's table. Emmerich is going in for Chuck Brendler, who's on the free throw line for Florida for the first time. So Emmerich cannot get in. 12 minutes, 13 seconds in the ball game. Brendler shoots, no good. Cox has the rebound knocked away, but picked up by Calvert on the bounce. Whipped up to Adrian Smith, moving in front court. Passing out to Beck down the right to Calvert. Takes a 10-foot jump shot. No good. Beck with a beautiful tap, just misses. Here it is, Johnny Cox hooking. Good. 7 field goals by Cox, 2 hooks in this half, 53-43. And for the 4th time, Kentucky has a 10-point lead in this ball game. Hobbs in front court for Florida. Down the right to Zinn, who takes it out to the top of the circle. Cox cut off a shot. Zinn held on over to Hobbs. That quick shot's just short, knocked out of bounds by Brindler. Goes over to Kentucky. Odie Smith fires into Calvert. Looks at his break possibility. Hits Cox on the left side. Out to Beck. Mosen gives to Calvert. Calvert sets and fires back to Adrian Smith. Kentucky's guards have not been able to hit from the outside tonight. Cox whips out deep to Calvert now. Calvert's got Adrian Smith under the basket. Breaks down the opposite way and hooks it in. Beautiful drive by Jerry Calvert for his 3rd field goal. And for the first time in the ball game, the Cats have a 12-point lead. 55-43. Jolly Smith in front court to Touchberry of Florida. Breaks in against Krigler. Falls away with a looping hook. It bounces off the rim. Cox, Beck go for it, and Johnny Cox comes up with it, fighting his way out of there, but he can't make it. It's a jump ball at the Florida free throw line as Bob Emmerich checks in for the Gators. Brindler going out. In the substitution, Florida loses 1-inch height advantage. Zinn and Cox jumping. Florida's got the height advantage. Tap to Emmerich, a hook, no good. Zinn rebounds wide open and missed the shot. Knocked off by Emmerich, picked up by Touchberry, shot good. Touchberry with his 4th field goal cuts Kentucky's lead back to 10 points. Calvert moving up past the midcourt stripe for the Cats now. Looks at Cox, hits him on the left side. Back out to Adrian Smith, down the left side to Calvert. Moves it outside, gives to Smith. Cuts and goes, and a whistle. They call him for walking. Out of bounds to Florida. Joe Hobbs moving her up the backcourt now. Kentucky leading by 10 points. Into the pivot to Emmerich. Quick jump shots. No good, rolled out. Tapped in beautifully by Jim Zinn. 4 field goals by Zinn. And Kentucky's 12-point lead's down to 8. 55-47 as Calvert moves up the backcourt. Passing on the left side to Cox. A 1-bounce dribble and out to Smith. Smith in the pivot to Beck. Moves down to the baseline. High pass on the left side to Cox. He moves out, takes a 5-footer. It's no good. Beck with a beautiful tap in, got it. Goal counts, but they call Beck for charging as he fell up on the back of Touchberry. The goal by Ed Beck is his 6th one of the ball game, but his personal foul is number 3. Kentucky leading 57-47 momentarily. Well, Georgia Tech has beaten Alabama tonight by a decisive margin. Georgia Tech 92, Alabama 67. Emmerich of Florida on the free throw line. He hasn't missed. Shoots good. That's 7 straight free throws for Emmerich as he gets in for the bonus shot. Good. So Emmerich's free throws match the field goal by Cox, and it's still an 8-point Kentucky lead, 57-49. Field goal by Beck, rather. Here it is to Krigler on the left side, back out to Calvert. Hits Cox at the top of the circle. Breaks to the right, goes for the basket. A whistle at the baseline. A kneeing foul against Touchberry of Florida is his 2nd one. Cox hit the field goal, but it is nullified by the earlier foul. Johnny Cox has hit 2 out of 4. He's in there for 1 try with 9 minutes and 46 seconds to go, and the Cats with an 8-point lead. Now here's Cox's free throw. It's good. Hit the front of the rim and just dribbled over into the nets. Kentucky leads 58-49. Cox stands in now for the bonus try. It's dead center. Kentucky 59-49. The incoming pass now to Joe Hobbs, who moves back in front court for the Gators. Down the right side to Zinn, slaps it right back to Hobbs. Hobbs gets the 20-foot jump shot away and off the rim. Fight for the ball as it hits the floor, rolls to the outside. Johnny Cox picks it up, pivots his way into the clear, moves up the backcourt, pulls up out deep. Passes down the right side to Krigler, over to Calvert, who sets it up. Fakes a shot, then gives to Cox, and a 25-foot jump shot's no good. Johnny Cox gets his 8th field goal, and the Cats lead 61-49, their 2nd lead of 12 points. Back in front court, Charlie Smith of the Gators, moving to the right side. Cox picks him up on the switch. Zinn's got Calvert on him now. Zinn's 8 inches taller than Calvert, and Calvert quickly switches off on Hobbs, knocks the ball up in the air and takes it away from him, and is knocked to the floor, but flips it away beautifully to Ed Beck. Beck moves up, hits Cox on the left side. Cox is knocked down and tied up by Charlie Smith from the rear on a fine play defensively. Johnny Cox at 6'4" will have 6 inches advantage as Florida takes timeout number 3. Let's take 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Standard Oil Sports Network.
WVLK, Lexington, Kentucky, 5 minutes past 9 o'clock.
Once again, this is Claude Sullivan from the Coliseum here in Lexington, where with 8 minutes, 53 seconds to play, Kentucky leads Florida 61-49. Here's the picture of other games around the country tonight. Georgia Tech has beaten Alabama. Georgia Tech 92, Alabama 67. Georgia Tech, in winning tonight, has a 4-4 record. Alabama now has a 3-3 record. South Carolina defeated Furman tonight. South Carolina 103, Furman 98. Penn State has beaten Army. Penn State 61, Army 49. Marietta beat Ohio Wesleyan 104-92. Baldwin Wallace beat Central State of Ohio 86-76. And Capital beat Mount Union 62-57. Now we're ready to go back to play. Johnny Cox of Kentucky, with 6 inches height advantage, jumps with Charlie Smith at the Kentucky free throw line. Cox ready to go now. Smith ready to go. The tap is way back deep to Calvert, who saved blindly over his shoulder to Adrian Smith. Down the left side to Cox. 20-foot jump shot. Good. Johnny Cox, 9 field goals, and the Cats lead 63-49. Kentucky leads for the first time by 14 points. Here's Krigler stealing the ball, hitting Adrian Smith, who drives and lays it in. Adrian Smith exploding for his 3rd field goal and a steal by John Krigler. Kentucky leads by 16 points, 65-49. Back in front court, Smith of Florida, picked up by Calvin as he moves to the right. 20-foot jump shot, it's no good. Beck high for the rebound. Whips it high to Krigler. 3 on 2 as he moves down the right side, turns his back, hands to Cox. Outside to Beck, under the basket, Krigler fakes and lays it in. Good, he's fouled on the play. Goal is good. Foul on Bert Touchberry, 3rd one. Man, it makes you wonder, where's Krigler been? By golly, the Cats went out on top by 14, and Krigler has exploded here. He shoots 1, good. Krigler has just stolen the ball to set up a field goal by Adrian Smith and knocked off 5 of them himself as the Cats lead 68-49. Here's Emmerich driving. Ball knocked down on his shot. Krigler trying to save it. Can't hold it. It's out of bounds to Florida. Kentucky owns a 19-point lead right now. They exploded after Florida called timeout. Emmerich out of bounds, throws it in. Foul on Adrian Smith of Kentucky, his 2nd one. Here is a rather unusual thing in this game. Kentucky's committed only 10 personal fouls. Last year at Gainesville, they committed only 14. Not many for an aggressive team. Smith of Florida shoots and misses. Cox, or rather Beck, knocked it right over to Calvert. Up in front court to Adrian Smith. Down the left side to Krigler, who jumps to shoot. He's fouled. Check it. Jump ball. 7 minutes, 36 seconds to go. Zinn against Krigler, giving Florida 4 inches height advantage, and 6'7" Jim Zinn. Here's the tap by Zinn to Touchberry. Led to Smith, goes in against Calvert, and got it. Charlie Smith gets his 2nd field goal of the game. Kentucky 68, Florida 51. Adrian Smith yells down the right side and hits Krigler. Kicks right back to Calvert. Beck, free throw line, jump shot, and it's good. 7 field goals for Beck. Beck's within 2 points of equaling his season's high as the Cats lead for the 2nd time by 19 points, 70-51. Touchberry breaks against Krigler. Falls away and shoots, no good. Ed Beck way in the air for the rebound, is tied up. That brought both Kentucky coaches off the bench. And here's Chuck Brendler and Jerry Henderson checking in for Florida. Henderson has not been in since the first half. Zinn comes out. And timeout Kentucky, their first of the ball game, with 7 minutes to go. Kentucky 70, Florida 51. Well, the Cats were battling for every inch they could get on Florida after coming into this half with a 1-point lead until Florida called timeout, with the Cats holding a lead of 8 points. Kentucky really put on a spree after the timeout. We have 2 Southeastern Conference games completed. Georgia Tech has defeated Alabama, and Tennessee has defeated Georgia. Of course, the other games are not yet completed, since they all started at 8 o'clock. The important Tulane, Mississippi State game did not get started until 8:15. Well, the fans have seen a great ball game here tonight. Another 7 minutes to go, and it's getting better all the while. Ed Beck will jump with Brendler. No, Brendler wasn't in there. It's Touchberry. Beck will have 3 inches height advantage on the Florida free throw line. Here's a tap quickly over to Adrian Smith, who scoops it up on the bounce, and the Cats go on the run. Down the left side to Cox. Breaks on Touchberry and hooks it up just short. No good. Brendler rebounds for Florida. Cox was really traveling hard then. Over to Touchberry. Wide open. He missed it. Taken off by Beck. Flips out to Calvert. Cats on the run. Big Blue rolling in. As they go down the right side, Calvert hits Beck. Here's a 20-foot jump shot. It's good. Beck gets 8 field goals and 19 points for the first time this season. Back up in front court with the Cats leading 72-51. Joe Hobbs of Florida breaks to the left side. Picked up by Krigler. Falls away and misses. Over the rim. Taking the rebound, Adrian Smith. Breaks in against Touchberry. And down the left side, he hits Calvert. Calvert gives under the basket. Cox hooks it in. Quick 10 field goals for Johnny Cox. Kentucky on top, 74-51, and a tremendous explosion. 23 points, Kentucky's biggest lead. Here's Hobbs on the right side for Florida. Out to Smith, left wide open. A 20-foot jump shot, no good. Beck goes for it, can't get to it. Touchberry shoots, no good. Slapped down by Smith, taken by Cox. Looks for somebody open, hits Adrian Smith, moving up the back court, past the line. Top rim of the circle. He sets it up now as the Cats quiet down for just a moment. Here's Smith, 10-foot jump shot, it's good. 4 field goals for Adrian Smith. The Cats lead 76-51. They move out on top by 25. Kentucky has beaten Florida by 24 points so far, or 23 points so far in this half. Here's Beck knocking it away from Touchberry and out of bounds. 5.5 minutes in the ball game as Brendler of Florida stands to the left of the Gator basket over the baseline to call his play. Touchberry breaks into the left corner. The pass is deep to Smith, who lets it go over his shoulder and picks it up in the bounce. Moves back in against Calvert, goes to the right side, whips one in there to Touchberry breaking, and he's ganged by Cox and Beck. Beck draws the foul, number 4. 4 fouls on Beck. Coach Adolph Rupp, who has not made a substitution in this half, starts into a huddle with his assistant Harry Lancaster. 2 shots are being awarded Florida's Bert Touchberry. Touchberry has not missed a free throw tonight. Here's the first one, good. Gives him 3 in a row. 5 minutes, 9 seconds to go. Dick Howes off the Kentucky bench as Touchberry drops in the second free throw. Calvert takes it out, quickly hits Adrian Smith moving in front court. Free throw line jump shot, good. Adrian Smith unloads his 5th field goal of the game, and the Cats lead 78-53. Back on top by 25 points for the second time. Here's Hobbs breaking in, feeding Touchberry on the left side. Breaks out against Krigler. Quick jump shot off the rim, no good. Calvert knocked it down and out of bounds. Timeout, Kentucky, their second of the ball game. Into the lineup for the first time tonight is Dick Howe, 20-year-old sophomore against Carbondale, Illinois. Coming out, Ed Beck, who's played a tremendous ball game. Ed Beck's had his best night of the season in scoring 19 points, 2 better than he had in Knoxville against Tennessee. Dick Howe, 6'5", weighs 208, scored 10 of his 15 points against Miami. He's averaging 1.8 a game. Into the Florida lineup comes Ron Stokely, 6'2" junior from Middletown, Ohio, weighs 190, 21-year-old. He's got 40 points for a 3.3 average, Stokley. You know, Coach Rupp made a remark to us about a week ago that we're sure he didn't mean for us to repeat, but we think it kind of fits this situation. He said, you know, Dick Howe is not as bad a ball player as our substituting would indicate, but Ed Beck has done so beautifully this year by being able to stay in these ball games without fouling out that Howe just has not had the opportunity he perhaps deserves. Now coming out is Krigler, and into the ball game, Johnny Brewer, 21-year-old senior from Anchorage. 6'3", weighs 182. Brewer's from Eastern High School. 69 points for an average of 4 points a game. Best night against Georgia Tech here in Lexington, 12. He got 2 against Florida last year in Gainesville. Cox, Calvert, Smith remain in the Kentucky lineup. Touchberry, Henderson, Brendler, and Hobbs remain in the Florida lineup. Charlie Smith has come out of the lineup. So Kentucky's got the ball under the Florida basket. Kentucky leading 78-53. Here's Adrian Smith moving back in front court now. Brewer breaks out. Smith breaks in. Spins, and his shot's no good. Knocked to the floor. Howe scoops it out and gets it to Calvert. Down the right side, Smith fakes a shot, pulls out, gives to Calvert. Calvert watches Howe and then takes it outside to set it up. Kentucky with a 25-point lead. Calvert has it knocked down, but scoops it out again himself. Gives to Smith, who drops it, picks it up in the bounce. Cats moving in now with 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Purdue beat Illinois tonight by 10 points. Here's Calvert breaking, loses the ball, picks it up, can't shoot, hooks it out to Brewer. Brewer in the pivot to Johnny Cox, goes under, hooks back, it's good. 11 field goals for Johnny Cox. Nobody's had more than 11 field goals in a game this season as Vernon Hatton comes off the Kentucky bench. Foul on Adrian Smith of the Cats is his third of the ball game. Vernon Hatton and Bill Cassidy come in for Smith and Calvert. Vernon Hatton coming in, 20-year-old junior from Lexington, Lafayette man, 6'3", weighs 188, 179 points. Hatton averaging 16.3. Best night against Miami when he got 29. Now checking in is Abe Collinsworth of Salyersville as all the starters are out. 20-year-old junior, Collinsworth, 6'3", weighs 185. Best night against Georgia last Wednesday with 5, averaging 1.6 a game with a total of 13 points. Ron Stokely of Florida is up to the line for one shot with 3 minutes 56 seconds to go. The shot's no good. Touchberry rebounds and quickly shoots no good. Taken off by Cassidy of Kentucky. Bales, a 20-year-old junior from Inez, 6'2", weighs 191. Has 39 points for a 2.8 average. Best night against Loyola when he got 8. Johnny Brewer playing a guard gives on the right side to Cassidy, who mows out, gives to Brewer, down the left to Collinsworth. Collinsworth fakes on Touchberry, then gives out to Johnny Brewer. Kentucky 80, 53 over Florida. Here's Brewer on the left side, watches Hatton break, then gives to Cassidy at the top of the circle. He goes, shoots, and hits. Cassidy with his first field goal of the ball game makes it 82-53. Kentucky now for the first time has a 29-point lead. Purdue has upset Illinois tonight by 10 points. Purdue 84, Illinois 74. Now here's a ball knocked down by Cassidy and taken away from Jerry Henderson. Over to Collinsworth for 3 minutes to go. He moves in front court for the Cats. Over to Johnny Brewer. Here's a 20-foot jump shot, and it's no good this time. Collinsworth knocks it down. Touchberry picks it up. He's swarmed by Wildcats. Collinsworth takes it away and lays it in. Collinsworth with his first field goal makes it 84-53. And the Big Blues on top by 31. Touchberry back in front court for Florida now. Pumps one into the pivot there, and here's a charging foul from the rear by Dick Howe of Kentucky. First foul on Howe. Here's some late scores. Purdue over Illinois, 84-74. Yale has defeated Cornell. Yale 65, Cornell 51. Chuck Brindler of Florida is up for one shot. It's good. He gets a bonus shot. Syracuse defeated NYU tonight by 4. Syracuse 94, NYU 90. Richmond over Georgetown of Washington, 97-81. Bonus shot good by Brindler as Emmerich checks back in for Florida. American University beat Catholic 75-73. Cincinnati beat Ball State tonight. Cincinnati 90, Ball State 73. Maryland over George Washington. Maryland 84, George Washington 57. Oberlin over Kenyon 79-69. Those are the late scores as Brewer moves up in front court for Kentucky. They lead 84-55. Here's Collinsworth outside. 25-foot jump shot. It's just short. Knocked up and out of bounds by Dick Howe of Kentucky. Goes to Florida. Cats have had one lead of 31 points, 84-53. Now we got 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go. Here's Hobbs giving down the right side, breaking out. Henderson shoots and misses. Here's knocked down on the floor. Fight for the ball. Collinsworth got it, but not quickly enough. A jump is called. In the Southeastern Conference tonight, Tennessee beat Georgia, and Georgia Tech beat Alabama. For Alabama, it was their third loss of the season. Collinsworth and Henderson jumping. Collinsworth taps to Cassidy. Knocked down, though, and picked up, and here's a break for the basket. Stokely shoots and misses. Tapped by Touchberry, no good. Rebounded by Stokely. Falls away from Howe and shoots into the side of the backboard. It's knocked up in the air and taken by Collinsworth of Kentucky. Whips one out in front of Vernon Hatton on a 3-2 break. Hatton from 10 feet misses. Knocked down and taken away from Henderson by Dick Howe. Flips it out to Bill Cassidy. Cassidy gives over to Collinsworth. Fakes a shot. Breaks left. Doesn't shoot and hooks out to Johnny Brewer. Brewer backs away to set it up with a lead of 84-55. Minute and 40 seconds to play. Over to Hatton. In the pivot to Howe. Howe breaks out of there, lives it to Cassidy. Cassidy sets from 30 feet. No good. Off the rim, on the bounce. Stokely of Florida's got it for a 2-2 break. He cuts sharply to the left, then goes to the baseline and falls away, and his shot's blocked by Johnny Brewer, picked up by Vernon Hatton, knocked away on the floor, rolling around. Emmerich's got it. Hatton knocked it down, picked up by Touchberry, 1-on-1 against Cassidy. He charged into Cassidy, and the foul, a goal will count. Let's say it's on Bill Cassidy of Kentucky for blocking, and that brings Adolph Rupp and Harry Lancaster off the bench. Touchberry's field goal is his 5th of the game, and he gets a free throw coming. Touchberry has not missed a free throw. He shoots, no good, and Howe rebounds for Kentucky. Henderson, the other Kentucky boy, by the way, has not scored a point. Emmerich has scored 12. He got 11 last year, so this is a good night for him against Kentucky. Here's Howe in the left corner for Kentucky, given to Collinsworth, cut off at the baseline, but Touchberry takes it back outside with a minute to go, then cuts down the 3-second zone and hooks it in. Collinsworth driving for his second field goal here in a reserve row. North Carolina State's just beaten Clemson by 4 points. NC State 75, Clemson 71. Here's a break void by Hobbs, lays it in driving. That's the 8th field goal for Hobbs. Kentucky leading 86-59, 38 seconds to go. Johnny Brewer moves in front court for Kentucky. Down the left side to Collinsworth. The fake moves into the left corner. Touchberry covers him and he gives out to Brewer. 30 seconds to go. Virginia Tech tonight beat Virginia. Here's Hatton from 30 feet. Missing. Brewer taps. Howe taps. Good. Dick Howe with his first field goal makes it 88-59 for the Cats. Here's Hobbs moving up back court. Just seconds to go. Bounce pass goes to Emmerich in the pivot from 20 feet. He hit it. Bob Emmerich got a field goal, his 3rd of the ball game, first in this half. 5 seconds to go as Brewer gives to Collinsworth. He fakes a shot, gives over to Brewer, and from 45 feet he just missed it. So the ball game ends. Final score, Kentucky 88, Florida 61. Dayton tonight beat Moorhead. Dayton 80, Moorhead 67. VPI beat Virginia. VPI 70, Virginia 56. And Fordham beat Connecticut by 1 point. Fordham 68, Connecticut 67. Those are late scores. We'll have individual scoring on this ball game in just a moment. When the game's over and the winner is far ahead, the tally on the scoreboard doesn't tell the whole story. It only shows the result. Actually, the game was won play by play, point by point. So it is with the outstanding popularity of Standard Oil products on Kentucky farms today. This popularity is a result, but a result that had its beginning 3 generations ago, when Standard Oil salesmen in mule-drawn wagons were the first to bring kerosene and axle grease right to the doorstep of even the most remote Kentucky farm. A result that has steadily grown as one Kentucky farmer after another has seen his own power equipment prove the unmatched dependability and economy of Standard Oil fuels. If you operate a truck or a tractor on your farm, try a Standard Oil fuel. Profitable performance has made them the considered first choice on farms throughout Kentucky. Here's the picture on Kentucky's 7th Southeastern Conference win against 1 defeat, and their 16th win of the season against 3 losses. Ed Beck tonight had his best night of the year as he picked up 8 field goals and 3 out of 5 free throws, and a total of 19 points, 2 better than his performance at Knoxville when he hit 17. Johnny Cox tonight, equal mark that he's already set twice previous this season, of hitting 11 field goals, 5 in the first half and 6 in the second half. And Cox led the scoring parade with 26 points on quite an exhibition of all types of shooting. Odie Smith tonight came back with another great night. On the free throw line, Smith tonight missed 2 of them, which is the first time he's done that since he went into the starting lineup. He hit 8 out of 10, however, and ended up with 18 points. Bill Cassidy picked up 2 points on a field goal. Ray Mills, who didn't play in the second half, briefly in the first, did not score. Johnny Brewer played only in the second half, did not score. Vernon Hatton did not score tonight. John Krigler picked up 9 points and seemed to be the spark. Got 2 points in the field goal. Abe Collinsworth came in and got 4 points. That gives Collinsworth 9 points in the last 2 games as a reserve. Calvert tonight was off again as he got only 8 points, 3 field goals, 2 out of 4 free throws. Calvert got 4 points in each half. But Calvert came into the game averaging 15.5 and got only 8. And the same fellow that guarded Calvert held Cupison of Alabama, the conference second leading scorer, to just 12, and tonight held Calvert to only 8. Joe Hobbs of Florida. See him tonight. Bert Touchberry, who got only 4 last year, came up with 4 field goals, 4 out of 5 free throws. Knight was hot at the free throw line. He hit
One moment, please.